What's up guys, I'm back once again to show you some of the hot mods of the week. Now in Fallout 4, you're going to spend a rather large amount of time in the subways. So with this first mod, we're going to be making your subways look as good as possible. And to do this, we're going to be using the mod Subway HD. Now with this mod installed, we can finally have the subways of Fallout 4 look as good as they should. And the results of this are that it's going to make the subways look older and more rustic. And honestly, so they should. This game is set 200 years in the future, so of course the environment should look older and more rustic. Now with some of these transitions, it's very difficult to make out the difference. It's only when you get really up close and personal that you can see some of the detail. And I'm sure I say this about every other mod, but this is one of those that's probably going to stay in my load order for the foreseeable future, or until I hit the mod limit again. Now for this next mod, do you like the handmade rifle or maybe the lever action rifle, but don't like having to travel to the DLCs to acquire the ammo for it? Then I might just have the solution for you, using the mod Vanilla Ammo for DLC guns. Now all of your handmade rifles are going to use 5.56 and the lever action rifles are going to use 45 caliber. So now you aren't going to need to pay as much attention to your ammo supplies. You can just focus on having fun with the weapons and not having to go to the DLC locations to buy ammo every so often. And of course, this week's weapon mod is the Select Assault Rifle, also known as the Flying Eagle from Fallout 76. Now I know I'm a bit late on this one, but better late than never. Now to get your hands on this weapon, you can craft it at a chem station under the Select Assault Rifle section. But to do this, you're going to need to unlock the weapon first, and to do that, you're going to need to head to the South Boston military checkpoint and enter the basement towards the east side. And in here, you'll come across a door that's inaccessible. But after looking at a terminal, flicking a couple of switches, and looking at the terminal one more time, the door will open, giving us access to the Select Assault Rifle and showing off one of the best picking up animations that I've ever seen. Now this may not be a quest to acquire the weapon, but I can still appreciate the effort put in instead of just slapping the weapon as a recipe at the chem station. Now if this really isn't your thing and you just want to get your hands on the weapon, then you can still just use the console. Now in terms of upgrades, you have the choice of an amazing 26 receivers, including some burst fire, which I have not seen before on any other weapon, 6 barrels, 5 stocks, 7 magazines, 10 sights, 5 magazines, and finally 8 different paints. Anyway, I think we've spent enough time talking about this mod. On to the next one. Now for this next mod, we have an armor mod, but not just any armor mod. We have the Modern Warfare Krueger outfit, and this is going to come in 3 variations: Alliance, Mad Chemist, and finally Tiger. Now to acquire these armors for yourself, simply look under the Modern Warfare armor section at any chem station, and as you can see, the damage reduction from each piece tends to be very high. They don't have any perk requirements to craft, simply some crafting materials. Now the reason why these armors tend to have really high damage reduction is because you can't modify them at an armor workbench. I mean, I say you can't, but you can change the colour of the gloves. And to be honest, it doesn't really bother me that you can't modify these armors. As I've stated, the damage reduction is already pretty high. Granted, it's always nice to have choice, but with how good these armors look, it really doesn't bother me. I could really see myself using the Mad Chemist outfit on a heavy chem usage character. And the second weapon mod for this week's episode is the HK CAWS, and you can acquire one of these after reaching level 30. After this, the weapon will start to appear in the leveled list and on high level gunners. And in terms of upgrades, you have the choice of 7 receivers, 12 ammo types, 2 firing modes, 2 magazines, 7 sights, and finally 6 muzzles. Now maybe a standard weapon isn't good enough for you. You want something with a bit more stopping power. Well, luckily with this mod there is also a unique somewhere in the wasteland. I'm not going to tell you the exact location, but if you've played Fallout 4, you might be able to tell where it is just from this footage. The mod author themselves describes this legendary as being completely overpowered, and I couldn't agree more. Why is this weapon so completely overpowered, you might ask yourself? It's not enough that it has one of the most powerful legendary effects in the game, but this particular weapon has 2 of them. Not to mention, when you combine the explosive legendary effect with a shotgun, the results tend to be amplified a lot more than any other type of weapon. This is probably due to the fact that shotguns have multiple projectiles, and the explosive effect is applied to each and every one. So if you plan on using this weapon in close proximity, I would be very careful, or unfortunately, this happened to me far more times than I would like to admit, and this is because it's very easy to accidentally do. You only need to let one pellet hit you and it's game over. Anyway, I think that's going to cover it for this mod, and the video for that matter. I hope you all enjoyed the mods here today, and if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you all in the next video.